escort valuable rebel supplies through dangerous Imperial territory over the humid lands of Barkhesh.
Hey everyone, it's Will here, and welcome back to the Armory. This week we're going to continue with our Let's Play in Lore series. So, let's jump on our X-Wing and head to the rendezvous point on Barkhesh.
Rogue Squadron, this is General Rieekan. One of our shuttles will rendezvous with a small convoy from local resistance on Barkhesh, which must first travel through Imperial territory. They carry equipment and supplies vital to the rebellion. Your mission is to rendezvous with that convoy and escort it to the landing zone. Good luck.
So, again, this is another early level where there isn't much of a difficulty to the game. We do have some new enemies. We get to fight some AT-STs and get our first turrets. But frankly, this is an escort mission on a one-off planet that was only really introduced for Rogue Squad. The Essential Atlas didn't really have anything beyond the grid coordinates about the planet, and this mission is pretty much follow the convoy until it reaches the rendezvous point, so I figured the best thing we can do is talk about the man who gives us our missions, General Rieekan. Rieekan is a human from the planet Alderaan, and at a young age joined the judicial forces of the Republic, essentially their peacekeeping organization. At the start of the Clone Wars, Rieekan joined and served in the Republic forces. At the conclusion of the Clone Wars, Rieekan served as both a founding member and a general in the Alliance to restore the Republic. Rieekan was in charge of Echo Base on Hoth and was in command when an Imperial probe droid located the Rebels' position. He oversaw the evacuation of Echo Base, and one of the more recent character encyclopedia notes he left on the last transport. After the evacuation, Rieekan was stationed on the Mon Calamari cruiser Liberty. As far as it's known, the Liberty was his post until after the Battle of Endor, where he came up with a plan to use former Imperial officers and agents to help capture Star Destroyers to rebolster or rebuild the New Republic fleet. The post-Hoth period was largely written about in Claudia Gray's book Lost Stars. Lost Stars was the first new canon book that I read when I was dipping my toe back into Star Wars, and it is mainly the reason I fell back in love with the universe. If you haven't read it yet, you should grab a copy from a local bookstore or get it at your library. If you have read it, then I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Now, there is one later appearance of Rieekan as well. He does return to fight the First Order in the book Resistance Reborn by Rebecca Roanhorse. I remember listening to the audiobook when walking home from work one day, and when they announced or had the moment when Rieekan came back into the fold, I immediately stopped, jumped up and down, texted my friend, and said, "Rieekan lives." Now, in Legends, Rieekan does have a similar early life, a human from Alderaan who served in the judicial forces, fought and served in the Clone Wars. But there is one detail, especially when it comes to Alderaan, that was a little more heartbreaking than I'd realized. When the Death Star appeared in Alderaan's orbit, Rieekan received many calls for evacuation and assistance. Concerned that any rebel presence would just essentially confirm the suspicions the Empire had, Rieekan decided to wait it out and see what would happen, surely thinking that the Death Star wouldn't be used on his home planet. Unfortunately, Alderaan served as the test for the Death Star super laser, and from then on, Rieekan blamed himself for the loss of so many lives on Alderaan. Rieekan does appear in a number of books and legends, such as Courtship of Princess Leia. He is in the War Room when Thrawn attacks Coruscant in the Thrawn trilogy. After Mon Mothma resigns as Chief of State for the New Republic, Leia takes over the role and has General Rieekan serve as Minister of State, Leia's previous position. During the Yunusian Vong War, Rieekan would again be in the War Room on Coruscant, this time in charge of the planet's defenses. We know Rieekan survived the Vong War, but what happened to him beyond that is unknown. Rieekan does appear in Legends as well in a number of the original Marvel Star Wars comics, as well as young adult or children's books. Now it's time to come clean. I am a huge fan of Rieekan, and I think a large part of that is because of Rogue Squadron in the game, as well as his appearance in Empire Strikes Back. I do love how matter-of-fact he is, giving us our missions, or telling Han that he understands that he has to leave the rebellion because a death mark's a hard thing to live with. When it comes to evacuating Echo Base as well, Rieekan is so matter-of-fact of, well, it's time to go. We don't want to risk the Imperials knowing of our presence, even if it was just a probe drill that we saw. Also, I know you just saw that embarrassing attempt to strafe some stormtroopers, which I gave up on. This is a very me perspective or opinion on things. I do sometimes find Legends a little difficult or unwieldy to manage or keep straight in my head. So his appearance both in Lost Stars as well as Resistance Reborn were fun nods to the original trilogy character who we see just for a couple moments, whose name is so iconic it gets stuck in our head a little bit. Like I said, I often struggle with how much there is in Legends, so it is easier to keep track of, or when I thought, what do I know about Rieekan and canon? Those two books came right to mind. For Legends, I didn't even realize he had served as Leia's second in command. But we've essentially completed our mission, getting the convoy to the meeting area. I hope you enjoyed watching the gameplay, and I also hope you enjoyed our conversation about one of my favorite Rebel officers. Let me know who your favorite Rebel leaders were, and please like and subscribe. Hope to see you again, and until next time, may the Force be with you.